I welcome that one. Wherever you are welcome to Bethesda platform. Language is very unique. It carries things that can build us and things that can destroy us. Whenever you are speaking, you are actually transferring something from within you to the outside environment. Wherever you are talking, you are transferring something within you to the outside environment. That is why whatever you say, whatever you talk, actually goes into the atmosphere and creates you outside. Whatever you say, I repeat, comes from within you, goes into the environment and creates you in the environment. That is why the enemy will not fight you from within. He will never win. Because he knows you easily fight yourself from within. He can only fight you from without. Are you following me? Please listen. I want to repeat and take you to another dimension. Whatever you say from within, before you utter it from the outside or to the outside, is not easily fought. Why? Because the only access the enemy has to your within is based on the word you do not understand as I'm preaching. That's why Jesus says, to the one who did not understand, the enemy came and snatched what was sworn in their heart. So your heart is vulnerable if there is no understanding. But whatever you think and you say it, then you begin a battle. But if what you say is attached with conviction, you say it and is attached to conviction, with conviction, whatever you say does not only produce you, produces what you believe in. Are you following me? So Mark chapter 11. Speech or speaking in prayer. Jesus answered and said to them, have faith in God. The translation in the Greek, which has brought a lot of controversies, which I taught you on Saturday, that please don't go into controversies over words. They have no value. They add no profit to your spirituality. Are you following me? So the controversies that the theologians, the people who have read from what they call the original, which is not the original, because Greek is a third language from the translation. So it can't be original. They say that one means have the faith kind of God. I can argue with you that God doesn't have faith. I have said it before and I'm repeating. God doesn't have faith. Why? Because he sees everything and knows everything. Faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 4:13 tells you nothing is hidden from the sight of God. So God doesn't have faith. So that cannot mean you have the faith kind of God. He doesn't have faith. That means your faith should be in God as you are reading it. Your faith should be in what? God. Verse 23. You remember the background of this story or experience is coming from Jesus cursing the fig tree. It is withered from the roots. How Peter saw that it is withered from the roots is a miracle in itself. To have the sight to see in the ground tells you he has the sight to see beyond. Are you hearing me? For assuredly I say to you, look at the one seated next to you. Tell them, speak before you pray. What you were taught, what you've been taught, is that you go to pray. No, it doesn't work. You speak before you pray. I said to you whoever says to this mountain, what do? You say to the mountain, you address the issue. Talk to the issue. Every issue in life has got ears. Talk to it. And if you don't know how to identify the issue as a being, you will never know the spirit that is in the issue, because everything has a spirit behind it. Are you following me? So listen to this. Whoever says to this mountain, be what? Removed. And be what? Cast into the what? Sea. And does not doubt in his what? Heart. But believes that those things he says will be done, he will have whatever he prays. No. He says, speech in prayer. If you pay attention to what the Bible how the Bible puts things, we could be talking of very successful people today. But because you are in a hurry when you are studying the scriptures, I don't know where you are rushing to, but you are very patient when you are being troubled in other things to see the results. Are you following me? So the scripture says what? Let's continue, verse 24. Now listen to this. That's when now Jesus says, therefore, I say to you. Now me, I'm talking to you. What does he say? Whatever things you do what? Ask. When you what? Pray. Speech in prayer. The word to pray is to ask. When you go to God, you are asking. When you are confronting a thing, you are not asking, you are commanding. You speak to a thing. Listen, you problem. Listen, you whoever. That is why each problem has got a spirit behind, and you identify the spirit and speak to the spirit before you go to tell God that, I said. You see what you miss? Because you start by going to God. Formula broken. That's why most Christians are not seeing answers. Have you ever wondered how some people were so successful? I told you I'll talk about it this time. You even forgot. Have you ever wondered how that some people were so successful and have never asked God anything? Jacob, Joseph. Never went to God and said, God, give me this. Tell me, where did Joseph pray? Huh? What made Joseph so successful than you who pray every day? How did he become so successful? That you pray, you fast. Some of you have even developed ulcers from fasting. But you are still struggling. What's the difference between you and Joseph? You and Jacob? Don't you have the same blood? Don't you have the same breath? When I said this, someone says, no, that time was Old Testament. New Testament, you can see the apostles were praying. Jacob and Joseph were not under the law. And people started calling on God. You know what it means to call on God? It's to pray. After the fall of man, there was a person who was born who was called Enoch. Then men started calling on God. Generation passed, Abraham was born. Wasn't Abraham praying? So what was the difference between Abraham, Jacob, and Joseph? Joseph never prayed, not even one day. But the guy was so successful than most of the Christians nowadays. Are you hearing me? So when you ask, you should have first spoken it. The mistake you make, you go to ask. without first speaking. Jesus did not say, God, let this tree dry. No, he went to the tree and said, you didn't give me fruit. No one will eat from you. No one will eat from you anymore. Then he goes. Then when they came back, Peter says, but the tree you cursed has withered from the roots. He says, have faith in God. Then he says, if you say to this man, he says, I'm giving you the same example of what I did. I did not waste time to start saying, you tree, you are going to, then God, this tree should, I just went to the tree and said, look, I was looking for fruit from you. You don't want to give me. And the scripture says it was outside season. So you ask Jesus, are you the only one who doesn't know it was outside season? When you are the one who created these things, you made these things. Okay, so what am I saying, children of God, servants of God? Now you see, after you have said, that's when he says, therefore. Actually, this place has got two therefores, if there is such. Look at what he says. He says, believe that you have received them and you will have them. Whatever things you ask when you pray, underline the word when. NIV says, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you will receive it and it will be what? Yours. Believe that you have received it. Actually, believe that you have received it. No, wait. Wait a minute. You're not paying attention. Let me ask you a question. Maybe to open your understanding. Believe that you have received it. For me, this is confusing. How do I receive the thing I told going to the sea? How do you receive what you said go? No, you missed it. He said, when you speak to this mountain, you tell it, go into the sea. It will obey you and go into the sea. Then he says, you have received. What am I receiving when it has gone the other way around? When this thing has gone somewhere, what have I received? You tell me. I was asking Jesus, I said, wait a minute. You went to the fig tree and said, no one will ever eat fruit from you anymore. So what did you receive? What did you receive? I came to realize, listen to this, you can only receive. I know you are going to tell me, you are clever. Christians, I know you. When you do not have an understanding, you have excuses. Receive means, I have received an answer. That's what you are saying. This is the problem I have with Christians, because when they don't understand, they have an excuse. Excuses do not sustain conviction. Or you've forgotten the quote for last week. Excuses do not sustain conviction. Are you hearing me? Now, look at this. Let's go to 25. I show you. He adds another thing. What does he say? And you see why on verse 24, why NIV doesn't have the when. Because in verse 25, there is a when. So listen to this. And when you stand praying. All right. Now today we talk. And when you what? You remember the first time I taught you. I told you the reason why you should stand. The prayer of where it is